Good morning, everybody, from a rainy Athens, Greece on this Thursday morning. And we've got a lot of news to get to. We're going to talk about Russia and Ukraine, of course, and we're going to do kind of a clown world with regards to some Russian artwork that has been seized by the Finnish authorities. It's kind of a sad turn of events, but we'll talk about it. And I'm going to file it under clown world because things are getting out of control. We're going to talk about Hungary. We have to talk about what's going on in Hungary and the fact that Hungary is being punished by the European Union because they decided to elect Viktor Orban and his Fidesz party. But first, let's talk about Scott Ritter real quick and the fact that he was suspended from Twitter because he dared to question the official narrative on what's going on in a village outside of Kiev because he decided to speak the truth. And he was suspended from Twitter, but I'm not going to really get into the details. I think everyone can find the tweet that he was suspended over. We have it posted on our locals page, the Duran.locals as well. But I will say this, Scott is on Telegram, and I welcome him to Telegram, and definitely follow him. He's already starting to post there. I will put a link to his Telegram channel down below in the description box. Just the other day, Boris Johnson gave a speech, the Prime Minister of the UK, and he said, "I am speaking to the Russian people, and I am urging them to use a VPN so that they can get the real news as to what's happening in Ukraine." Boris Johnson was actually saying this to the Russian people. He was actually giving a speech saying, "I'm speaking to the Russian people, and I want you guys to search the internet with a VPN so that you can get the truth as to what's going on in Ukraine." And of course, he threw out all the usual authoritarian, dictator, liberal democracies, human rights, freedom of the press. Well, you have your freedom of the press in these liberal European democracies. Scott Ritter, a Marine, a U.S. Marine, a weapons expert, an authority of as to what's going on in Ukraine, a military authority, a weapons authority, a man with an immense amount of knowledge and an objective. He is an objective analyst and an observer of what's going on, a truth teller, just someone who wants to get to the truth, was suspended on Twitter because he went against the narrative. And then you have Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, talking about liberal democracies and freedom of press and telling the Russian people to get a VPN, for which I would say to all the people in Greece where I'm located, I'll speak for Greece, for all the people in Greece, I urge you to get a VPN so that you can start to access some of the Russian media that has been banned and censored in throughout Europe, so that you can start to see both sides as to what's going on in this conflict. And I say that kind of jokingly, but in a way I'm serious, because we can never forget the first move of censorship was made by the collective West. It wasn't made by Russia. Russia retaliated by censoring and removing certain sites and certain news outlets. But the first shock and awe move towards censorship, that knee-jerk reaction to censor, was made by the collective West. And boy, did they censor. I mean, they censored everything, anyone and everything coming out of Russia with regards to this conflict. So anyway, Scott Ritter's Telegram in the description box down below. Please follow it. And there's no need for Scott to go back to Twitter. In my opinion, this is my opinion. There's no need for him to go back to Twitter. I think Telegram is going to be an excellent community where he can, an excellent platform, and he's going to build an excellent community where he can get his thoughts out there. And I definitely urge everyone to follow him. We're following him. So let's get to Hungary. I'm going to read you a tweet right here. And it is from Anders Osland, verified blue checkmark, important person. This is a tweet that he sent out after the elections. "If Hungary really votes overwhelmingly against democracy and for corruption, I cannot see why it should be accepted in the EU. Kick it out." Let me listen to what this guy said, what this joker said. If Hungary votes overwhelmingly against democracy, if Hungary votes overwhelmingly against democracy, These are the blue check marks. These are our thought leaders. These are the elite, the retrograde. Someone sent me a mail today and said we shouldn't call them the elite. We should call them the delete. Yeah, the delete. They always want to delete anyone that speaks logic or truth. But yeah, if Hungary votes overwhelmingly against democracy, kick them out. Boy, are they pissed that Hungary actually exercised their democratic right to vote in the party that the Hungarian people thought represent them best. God forbid. God forbid. So the fallout of voting Viktor Orbán and going against the EU is effectively sanctions. And why do I say sanctions? Well, I say that the European Union is sanctioning Hungary because they're doing it in a very clever and sneaky way. Basically, what's going on is that the EU, they're activating this mechanism called the rule of law mechanism. And this mechanism is basically a way to prevent EU member states from receiving EU funds that are used for various projects in the member state country, whether it's, I don't know, building a road, going into grants for businesses, things like this, right? Supposedly it's used to improve the member state. And these funds are coming from us, the EU taxpayers, right? So they pool all these funds together and it goes into this big pot and they get distributed out to member states. That's a simplistic way of looking at it, but that's pretty much what the fund is. And so during the coup, very, very sneaky, these EU kleptocrats. During the coup, they put together this rule of law mechanism, and this rule of law mechanism was actually blasted by Hungary and Poland. They were actually ahead of the curve. They said, what you guys are doing is not right. But anyway, I'll get to that. So during the coup, because the EU wanted to print billions and trillions more euros, and they wanted to create this big fund to help member states after the European Union forced member states to lock down. So the European Union forced member states to lock down, and then they came up with the idea, okay, so let's print, let's tax, let's get as much money as we can, put it into a pot, and when this is all said and done, when the coup is all over, thanks to Putin, because Putin ended the coup, when the coup is all over, we're going to distribute this money to the member states so that they don't go under, given the fact that we forced them to destroy their economies. So one of the safeguards that they put in place with this rule of law mechanism is they said that if any member state decides to go against European values, you know, those European values that they always talk about, well, then we can activate this mechanism to prevent them from getting these funds. And that's pretty much in a nutshell what the rule of law is, this rule of law mechanism. And sure enough, what they've done is they've activated this in the case of Hungary. This is going to be a long process, a very long process. And I believe that Hungary is owed something like 6 billion euros. Let me find it just to make sure I'm reporting accurate news to everybody. Yes, they are looking to freeze 6.14 billion of the yearly share from the EU budget that's owed to Hungary. This is money that the Hungarian people put into this pot, as well as some clever financial magic and money printing. But look, this is money that is owed to Hungary. This is Hungarians' money. And so what the EU is doing is they're going to activate this mechanism to prevent Hungary from getting this money. In other words, they're going to sanction Hungary. They're sanctioning Hungary. That's all they're doing, because Hungary decided to vote for the party that the EU didn't want to win. And that's what's going on. And they're saying that they're going to trigger this rule of law mechanism. It's going to pass through various courts, and it's going to need various approval. But they're going to enforce it against Hungary for the first time. Hungary is going to be the test case. Let me see what else I have information with this rule of law here. It has to be approved. This has to be approved by 55% of EU countries representing at least 65% of the total EU population for all of this to pass. It's going to be a long process. I'm just reading through I'm not going to get into the technical details too much, but I'll put an article down below for Euronews for anyone that wants to read through the technical details of it. But it's going to take time, and it's going to need approval by the member states as well. EU officials have estimated 5 to 9 months between the Commission's formal notification and the vote by member states. So 5 to 9 months. These are sanctions. This is punishment. This is meant to punish the Hungarian people. It's meant to punish Viktor Orban, to punish Fidesz. It's going to have the exact opposite effect. I believe that the Hungarian people are going to stiffen their resolve. They're going to tell the EU to buzz off. They're not going to be happy with it, but I think it's going to bring out more patriotic feelings in Hungary with regards to the country, the history, the culture, Orban, Fidesz. It's going to strengthen Orban. That's all this is going to do. It's going to have the exact reverse effects because that's what sanctions always do. They have the exact reverse effects. And it may force some more serious talk about Hungary exiting the EU. Like serious talk about it, because what is the point of being in the European Union if you have all the control of the EU kleptocrats on top of you? They work to control you. They work to control your population. And you get none of the money that you put into it. You have this super state sitting on top of your state. And any money that you pay into this super state is not given back to you. So what is the point of being in this thing anyway? It doesn't make any sense at all. So I believe there's going to start to be very serious talk in Hungary with regards to the EU, and serious talk about what benefits Hungary really gets from the European Union to begin with, because obviously the Hungarian people and Viktor Orban, they're not respected. These EU kleptocrats, they don't see Hungary and they don't see Orban as a peer, as someone they should respect. They see Hungary as a country that needs to be punished if it decides to go against the European values, which right now, by the way, the EU values are perfectly aligned in support with NAZI forces in Ukraine. And they can try to whitewash Azov and all of these organizations, IDAR and Right Sector and Svoboda and the BBC and Euronews and Deutsche Welle can try to whitewash these military forces and these government officials all they want. But the fact remains that the European Union and these European values, these EU values, are perfectly aligned right now with some very dark, sinister forces. And that is just a fact. You can try to justify what's going on all you want with regards to the EU stance against Russia, but their support of these sinister forces are inexcusable. Inexcusable. So that's what's going on with Hungary. These are sanctions, plain and simple. They're meant to punish the Hungarian population. They're meant to punish the Hungarian people. They're a sign that the European Union does not view Hungary with respect. They do not view Hungary as a peer nation, as a peer culture. And all it's going to do is strengthen the resolve of Hungarians, and it's going to strengthen the support of Orban. And there's a lot of talk about Poland, and I'm just looking here to see if I have any quotes about what Poland's going to do, because Poland was one of the countries that was voicing concern with this rule of law mechanism, and it was one of the countries that was aligned with Hungary to prevent these types of sanctions and this type of punishment against EU member states. But now that Poland has taken a position that is perfectly aligned with the European Union, if anything, Poland has taken the lead position with the European Union in calling for sanctions against Russia and calling for censorship, in advocating for World War III and advocating for even nuclear weapons on Polish territory in support of these forces, which, if you go back in history, these Bandera forces committed terrible atrocity against the Polish people. But it seems like the rule and not the rule of law, the Law and Justice Party has forgotten history. But I talked about whitewashing history. Well, Law and Justice has whitewashed history as well. in their undying support for the Zelensky government. But the question remains, will Poland support Hungary, or will they side with the EU in these sanctions targeting the Orban government? Because Poland is also under fire with this rule of law mechanism with regards to their judicial system and some laws that Law and Justice passed or wanted to pass in Poland with regards to how the justice system operates. And the EU said that they don't agree with this, with the way that Poland wants to structure their legal system. And the EU said that they have control over a member state's judiciary, and Poland cannot exert sovereignty over how their judiciary works. And they were threatening this rule of law mechanism against Poland. Now we're going to see in the next 5 to 9 months, we're going to see what position Poland takes. Are they going to continue to support Hungary, or are they going to turn their back on Hungary, and are they going to side with the EU? And if they side with the EU, I wonder if they haven't made some sort of backroom deal with the European Union to say, you know what, if we side with you, then you have to stop threatening us with the same rule of law mechanism that you're going to target Hungary with. I wonder if they haven't made a deal there. We're on board with you with regards to Zelensky, Ukraine, sanctions, weapons into Ukraine, escalation. We're on board with you, but stop targeting us with regards to this rule of law mechanism. And can the EU be trusted? Can Poland really trust the European Union? I don't think so, but we'll find out. We will find out in the next few months. Now you know why so many countries go along with these EU kleptocrats. Because in many EU countries, and I'll take Greece for an example, and I'll use Greece as an example, many EU countries, the politicians, they live for this money, these funds. This is how they end up making millions and millions, if not billions. That's how the politicians get so wealthy. They don't only get wealthy with the money they steal from taxpayers in their own country. They now make money from all of these EU funds as well by stealing and pocketing these EU funds as well. How does it work? It's real simple. In Greece, for example, these EU funds go to Greece and they say, okay, now use these funds to make Greece a better country, to build a road, let's say. And so the politicians, they say, thank you very much. We got all these billions, 6 billion, to make Greece a better place and to rise up to European standards, right? They like to use that word, European standards, EU standards. And so we're going to build a road. And this road costs $100. Well, my cousin has a construction company, and we're going to say that this road actually costs $150. And we're going to take that $50 and we're going to pocket it. And not only that, I think my cousin that has a construction company can cut corners here and there and bring the cost from 100 down to actually 70. So he can pocket the 30, we'll pocket the 50, and we'll pass it off as this road costing 100, and everyone's happy. That's how they make their money. That's how they become fabulously wealthy. They not only feed, as Gonzalo Lira says it, I love this term from Gonzalo Lira, he says they feed from the trough, right? The pigs that feed from the trough. They not only feed from the trough of their own taxpayer and their own coffers, their state coffers, but they feed from the trough of the EU coffers as well. It's a good gig that they have. So let's take a short walk here, and I'm going to talk about Finland and what happened there, this clown world story. And let me pull out my phone because I do have to read here. One sec. All right. I'm at a church here in downtown Athens. Right here, this big Orthodox church in Athens. People that live in this area will recognize this church. So Finland has announced on Wednesday, and I'm reading this to you from RT, they announced on Wednesday that due to EU sanctions, they are seizing 46 million in Russian art that was on loan overseas. Finland announced on Wednesday that its customs service has seized Russian artwork coming back from being loaned to exhibits in the EU and Japan, citing EU sanctions against Moscow over the conflict in Ukraine. The paintings and sculptures in question belong to Moscow's Tretyakov Gallery and St. Petersburg's Hermitage Museum, among others, and their value has been estimated at 46 million. Now, the Finnish Director of Enforcement at Finnish Customs, Mr. Where's the name? Sami Rakshit, said, and I quote, "The shipments that have now come under criminal investigation were detected as part of our customary enforcement work." They will put these paintings, from what I'm seeing right here as I'm reading this, they're going to put this artwork in a warehouse. They're going to, quote, they're going to look at the overall consideration of their value, characteristics, and safety, pending a full investigation. This is what the Finnish customs official said. And Russia, Kremlin International Cultural Cooperation spokesperson, Special Envoy Mikhail Shvidkoy, said, "We are doing everything to ensure that these works are returned to Russia." So they seized 46 million in art that should be on loan in Europe and in Japan in order to enrich culture, enrich people's minds. You know, artwork is beautiful and it's there so that people can see it and they can feel a sense of enlightenment, a sense of happiness. And what does the Finnish government do? It seizes it on orders from the EU and the United States. And they seize this artwork. And this belongs in some very nice museums. Anyone that's been to Russia, I'm sure they've been to the Tretyakov Gallery and the Hermitage, which is one of the best museums in the world. One of the top three, without a doubt. The Hermitage, of course, the Louvre, and I would say the Prada in Madrid. But yeah, they've seized artwork. That's how desperate, that's how hysterical the European Union has become. That's how criminal the European Union has become, and shame on Finland for doing this. It's no different than what Sweden did to Assange, than what the UK did to Assange. It's no different than when they went after Snowden either. They went after journalists and people. Now they go after artwork. They seize central bank funds. They seize foreign reserves. They seize yachts. They seize property of oligarchs. They seized people's bank accounts in Canada during the Freedom Convoy, didn't they? They seized Gazprom subsidiaries just the other day, Germany and the UK. Sorry, but in my opinion, these people are nothing more than sophisticated thieves. That's all they are, thieves. And Finland has done a terrible thing by seizing artwork that belongs back home in its museum. Artwork that was given on loan. I mean, it was a friendly gesture to Europe and to Japan. And the fact that Finland seized it is terrible. Absolutely terrible, especially for a country as great as Finland, which is Finland is a beacon of, at least my thoughts of Finland, were always as a country that's a beacon of freedom and human rights, respect of culture, respect of art, respect of people, even in terrible times, even in times of war. Finland always struck me as as a peaceful country that respects property and human rights and things like this. I mean, what else can I say? The fact that they're seizing art on the orders of the EU and on the orders of the US is a criminal act. This is thuggery. That's what it is. Basic thievery and thuggery. That's my opinion on this story. It's a clown world because it shows how hysterical the EU has become and how petty it has become. But it's still a sad clown world. It's not right. Return that art back. And I think I will leave it there, everybody. Alexander always has that quote that he talks about during our shows. He said, "For whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad." I believe that's the quote. That's what we're seeing in the European Union. That's what we're seeing. The EU is going to be destroyed when this is all said and done. If they continue on this path, they're going to be destroyed. But first, they're becoming mad. The gods are making them mad. Anyway, that is the video, guys. Check out Alexander's channel. He's doing a lot of good deep dive analysis into what's going on with this story. Russia, Ukraine, the EU, gas for rubles, all of these things. And of course, the Duran channel, where we're also working hard to bring real truthful news. And please look at the description box down below for Scott Ritter's Telegram link. Please follow Scott and theduran.locals.com, our great Duran locals community, where that's where I go to get all of my news. And actually, this story with regards to Hungary, there was a locals user who broke it all down in nice bullet points, and that was a real big help with regards to the rule of law mechanism, what it means, and how it's going to be used against the Hungarian people. That's it for me. Take care.